Afternoon. Would like to bring the Griffin Spalding County Board of Education meeting to order at 6 p.m. on April the 5th. And if you would do me one quick thing and put your phones on silent. Normally I would give 1 hour of detention, but for you I'm not. Just please silence your all electronic devices for us. Thank you so much. To begin tonight, we have Griffin Spalding County School Spotlight. Jordan Hill Elementary is to be honored tonight. Mr. Brown.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to present our April 2022 School Spotlight, which goes to the Hill Will, Jordan Hill Elementary School. Jordan Hill Elementary School. There are 371 scholars which attend the lovely school on the Hill. The mascot, they are the Jaguars. There are 72 faculty and staff members. A quote from the principal on why you love being the proud principal of the school. Over the last couple of years, lots of changes have occurred in our world that has affected our education system. It makes me proud to see how our scholars and staff have adjusted to the new normal and are taking things in stride. Getting back to the way things were may never be an option, but I know as we move forward, the flexibility of scholars and the staff at Jordan Hill Elementary will continue to make a positive impact for years to come. The Hill will. What good things are going on at the school, socially and educationally? We are in school. Scholars are working with one another in small groups. Teachers are working hard to teach strategy groups as well as whole group lessons, and we are implementing strategies to increase our attendance rate. Students are working hard to read books and gain points in newly implemented Reading Counts program, and our first annual readathon is wrapping up. Additionally, this year we have begun to implement Restorative Circles starting with 5th grade, and now implementing them in all grades 3 through 5. Students are making connections with their classmates and working on communication skills through weekly Restorative Circle time. Finally, we have started a Jordan Hill Dream Team comprised of students in 2nd through 5th grade who are responsible for implementing school-wide projects, giving input for PBIS, providing tours to new students, and promoting a positive learning environment. The past month, we launched Kindness Project, and with Jordan Hill Dream Team, students clip their peers with kindness by attaching a kind message on clothespins to book bags. This project was designed to spread kindness and included in all students at Jordan Hill Elementary School. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's give it up for our April 2022 Spotlight, Jordan Hill Elementary School. Faculty, staff members from Jordan Hill come up. Jordan Hill resides in District 5, so I turn it over to my colleague, Madam Chair, to present the Spotlight. Let's give him another hand.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that concludes our Spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. The mayor, right. We'll move along with our prayer. I'm going to ask Mr. Holmes to do our prayer, and we'll have the mayor of Jordan Hill do our pledge following the prayer. Mr. Holmes?
Father God in heaven, come before you. Thank you for all that you've already
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much.
Former student, a student of Griffin High School. She had a wonderful, outstanding principal.
That's great. So for those of you that didn't hear, the mayor's mom was a former student of Dr. Simmons when he was a principal at Griffin High School. That's awesome.
She survived.
Can I hear a hallelujah? That's great. Thank you for being here tonight. It's great. Thanks again, Miss English and Mr. McGavin. Great. Our school system announcements. Mr. Brown?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I always enjoy the opportunity where we are able to involve our scholars in this legislative process. And so tonight, we are happy to have with us two amazing scholars, one from Griffin High School and one from Spalding High School. Our scholar from Griffin High School is Ms. Untitled George, and our student from Spalding High School is Ms. J.C. Barnes. So at this time, I would turn it over to them to bring us our school system announcements.
Chairman McDonald, members of the board, and Superintendent Simmons, my name is J.C. Barnes. I am a senior at Spalding High School.
My name is Nathael George, and I am a senior at Griffin High School.
I would like to thank the Board of Education for involving scholars of the district in the policy and legislative process. The announcements for the April 5th, 2022 Board of Education meeting are as follows.
Griffin Spalding County School System Springs Break will be April 11th through 15th, 2022.
Tuesday, April 19th, 2022, the Griffin Spalding County Board of Education retreat will take place at 8 a.m. at Griffin Historic City Hall.
Administrators Professionals Day will be acknowledged on Wednesday, April 27th, 2022.
Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022, the Board of Education meeting will be held at 216 South 6th Street, Griffin, Georgia, 30224 at 6 p.m.
Congratulations to Dr. Keith Simmons on the completion of his doctorates in education leadership from the University of Georgia.
That's great.
Governance team, cabinet members, and stakeholders, this concludes the Board of Education announcements for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair, if I may, if we could amend the agenda to be able to have an executive session, an additional executive session immediately following the consent agenda. And we will make that as quickly as we possibly can and then come back in and deal with that. And that will be for the discussion of personnel matters.
Okay.
It would be a second because we need to leave one already at the end for Mr.
Shepherd.
Shepherd to be able to.
Let's be sure. Mr. Holmes, you okay with that? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Okay. Very good. And we have to vote. That's correct. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Sorry. Thank you. This is always an exciting time. Every time we get together as a group is our recognitions, and Ms. Cook does a great job with this. So we have 4 recognitions tonight, as you can see on the board. Ms. Cook?
Thank you. First item is Servant Heart Awards, Sun City Civitan Club.
You can go right over there, yeah, to the stand thing.
All right, the Sun City Civitan Club would like to honor 2 special education teachers. The first one is Regina Akery from Cowan Road Elementary School, who's special ed teacher. Is she here today? Okay, and our second teacher is Atlantia Clements from Ann Street Elementary, Moore Elementary, speech and language pathologist. We're going to get a picture.
Michelle, if you would please, would you let the audience know and people watching online, just give us a little history of the Servant Heart Award, please?
Okay, the Servant Heart Award is a Civitan award. We belong to Civitan International. We're a civic organization, but we serve special needs. That's our goal. And so we want, on a yearly basis, to reward special teachers like these. And this is why we present this award. Plus, they get a little check just to make it better because they spend their own money all the time. So, okay.
And I also wanted to say that I'm a member of the Sun City Civitan Club, and Kent and Michelle do a wonderful job out there as far as raising funds for special needs students all over this county. So I just wanted to publicly thank both of them. Thank you. Thank you again.
Next, we have Model Water Tower Competition, Ms. Heather Tolliver.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Simmons. Each year, the Georgia Association of Water Professionals hosts the Model Water Tower Competition with the mission, from today's youth come tomorrow's leaders. Let's lead some to the water profession. The Model Water Tower Competition is designed to provide information to youth about water resource engineering, infrastructure, and water treatment, and water conservation in hopes that some will become future water professionals. The contest is for middle schools, and it allows students to learn about the water profession through a fun-filled, hands-on science project. The students learn that a water tower has 3 main components: an elevated tank, a riser pipe, and a structure to elevate the tank. In addition, students experience what it is like to be an engineer for a day by solving issues with water towers, with their towers, and trying to come up with the best design based on provided limited specifications. The towers are tested to make sure they meet the specifications for both materials and dimensions. Here to present the student winners with their awards is Mr. Brandon Lewis, Deputy Director of the City of Griffin Water Wastewater Division, and Mr. Mike Melton, Plant Superintendent for the Steel Branch Water Treatment Plant. I'm going to let them speak and call out the names.
Thank you. Commission, Board, thank you for having us here. We're very glad to be here to present these awards to these students and hopefully maybe future water professionals. We have, in order of third to first place, Miss Abigail Anderson. In second place, we have Miss Abigail Dougherty. Okay, and in first place for this year, Miss Lakira Fulton.
Just to follow up, each of these students are from Rehoboth Road Middle School. Abigail Anderson, third place winner, wins a cash prize of $100. And Miss Lakira Fulton, first place, wins a cash prize of $300.
Oh, wow. Woo! We just have a request. Ms. Lakira, would you like to explain your tower to everyone really quickly? I can't tell them.
My water tower is on the Amazon rainforest. So they kind of depend on the water, and there's not much water coming out. So they're running towards the water to get water to survive.
Just a little bit, right next to the tower.
That's great.
Take that $200 check.
Next, Griffin Spalding County System Athletic Trainers Recognition, Mr. Anthony Eggins.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Simmons. If I could take a moment, I want to ask two gentlemen to come up front, and then I will explain once they're up here. I'd like to ask Mr. Mitch Duncan and Mr. Andrew Shivers to come up, please. Front and center. Y'all out in front of crowds all the time. This shouldn't bother you at all. The U.S. National Athletic Trainer Month is celebrated every year in March. It's celebrated in recognition of the expertise and efforts of athletic trainers across the globe and is dedicated to all those who play a vital role in the development and health care of athletes at various levels. GSCS is blessed to have two excellent athletic trainers, Mr. Mitch Duncan, who is at Griffin High School, and Mr. Andrew Shivers at Spalding High School. Currently, these two gentlemen serve approximately 750 athletes at their respective schools, as well as their feeder middle schools. No matter which sport they may be tending to at the time, they respond to any other athletic emergency on campus. Some of their duties include addressing medical-related topics with parents, monitoring lightning warning systems, conducting concussion protocols, and checking and logging wet bulb readings, as well as their normal duties as teachers. So this year also, I think Mitch is supervising 2 GSCS work students, and Andrew is supervising 2 interns from Georgia College and State University.
Oh, wow.
So would you please join me in congratulating and appreciating our 2 athletic trainers.
Grow our own scholarship recipients. Ms. Tokianne Goodman.
Good evening, Madam Chair, distinguished board members, and Superintendent Dr. Simmons. Thank you for the, I'm sorry? Good evening, Dad, my pops. My godfather. No, he's asleep. On March 7th and 9th, the Griffin Spalding County School System Human Resource Department and cabinet members surprised 11 employees in their classroom with checks for $1,500. These employees were awarded a GSCS Grow Our Own scholarship to assist them in their journey to become certified educators. Qualified employees must be enrolled in a Georgia Professional Standards Commission approved teacher preparation program at a college or university or in Georgia Teacher Academy of Preparation and Pedagogy, also known as Georgia TAP, to earn their initial teaching certification. Candidates for the scholarship completed an application that included 2 professional references and a personal essay outlining their desire to teach and the contribution they would make to the profession. The applicants were judged by a panel of district office administrators, and 11 scholarships were awarded. Please join me in congratulating these GSCS Grow Our Own scholarship recipients. From Atkinson Elementary, Taisha Corbin. From Beaverbrook Elementary, Brittany Jackson. Also from Beaverbrook Elementary, Diana Nicholson. From Cowan Road Elementary, Stephanie Roberts. Also from Cowan Road Elementary, Ashley Smith. From Crescent Elementary, Courtney Bridges. From Future Road Elementary, Crystal Hardy. From Jordan Hill Elementary, Quantico Dotson Williams. Also from Jordan Hill Elementary, Naisha Middlebrooks. From Maine State Academy, Jennifer Anthony. And from Orrs Elementary, Alicia Best. Let's give them all another round of applause. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of our students and staff who received these outstanding awards, and thanks to all of you who made these awards possible. We appreciate what you do for our students, our staff, and our school system. Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. I just wanted to say to the two young men up here that received the athletic training awards, a lot of you in the room and some of my colleagues up here probably don't even know, but my first full-time job was I was the head women's athletic trainer at the University of Georgia back in the day when Title IX had just taken off. I was the second full-time women's athletic employee at UGA. So when it came to my attention to recognize these gentlemen in the work that they do at our high schools and beyond, I was totally for that. Because people don't get hurt at your convenience. It's a 24/7 job. So I just personally want to thank you both for what you do for our student athletes, because without you, none of this would be possible. So from the bottom of my heart as a former athletic trainer, I just wanted to say thank you. And I know the board, my colleagues up here is the same. Thanks.
Amen.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cook. We have, I believe we have one person for public comments. Let me go over the regulations for the public comments. Any individual desiring to speak is requested to give his or her name, address, and the group, if any, that he or she is representing. The speaker is expected to address the board, not the audience. The presentation should be brief as possible, yet should include all information considered important by the speaker. Unless an extension of time is granted, each speaker shall not exceed 3 minutes. Questions, suggestions, proposals, or criticism which have been presented verbally should also be submitted when practical in writing and should be signed by the individual or the spokesperson of the group appearing before the board. Persons appearing before the board are reminded as a point of information that members of the board are without authority to act independently as individuals in official matters. Persons appearing before the board are reminded as a point of information that members of the board are without authority to act independently as individuals in official matters. And I did that the last time I did this. No profane and/or vulgar language or personal abuse against any person will be permitted. The board vests in its chairperson or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who does not adhere to the above protocols. And tonight we have Chastity Nichols, is that correct? Chastity? And we have your phone and your address.
Good evening, Chastity Nichols, 102 St. Luke Drive. I'm here to address some bullying issues going on. As you're all aware, April is Autism Acceptance Month, and I do have a child in your school district on the spectrum attending Kennedy Road Middle School. So bullying is getting national attention and being taken more seriously than in days past, but the focus is decidedly on kid abuse. While the mean girls, the taunters, the tormentors, and physical abusers and the excluders are very real threats, so too are educators who abuse their power over the very kids they're supposed to protect. Amid mounting data, the bullying is on the rise. There is a glaring absence of statistics on adult school bullies, in part perhaps because bullying by a teacher or principal is far more complex to identify, address, and rectify. It's difficult to know what to make of a teacher who crosses the line from basic discipline to regularly berating, intimidating, humiliating a student, so much so that the child's afraid to be in school or is now attempting to skip the class that this is happening in. Kids are ill-equipped to fight the battle on their own. That's where I, his mother, come in. My son has learning disabilities and is on the spectrum. He's 14 years old and attends Kennedy Road Middle School. I am not in any way claiming my child would never, because let's be real, he's 14, and when he feels overstimulated due to his sensory difficulties in a public environment, he does have moments of disrespect and outburst. He has been physically assaulted by another classmate using a door to attempt to slam his head with it. As a matter of fact, I will gladly show the board after the meeting today an Instagram account made by students at Kennedy Road called Kennedy Road Fights, where similar incidents are being filmed and posted. I saw the camera view footage from the classroom, but not the hall. Since the incident, the student has been identified and disciplined, as well as given a cease to communicate order by the vice principal. My problem is that the teacher we've had issues with all year long was in the hallway when this happened, and also conveniently only heard my son's retaliation comments made to the child that assaulted him, and he, not the other student, was sent to ISS. How she was able to only hear my son's remarks to his bully and not see the attempted assault onto my son is beyond comprehension. The teacher told me during a virtual IEP meeting in the beginning of the school year about my spectrum disorder son, and I quote, "I cannot think of one good thing to say about your son. You're a teacher, find one." Again, my son has learning difficulties, and when not supported by his educators appropriately, he gives up entirely and shuts down, which is not uncommon with children on the spectrum. I have confronted this teacher repeatedly about how spectrum disorders work in an attempt to make her understand better how to handle certain situations. We've had many meetings, and I've been graceful and kind up until now. I now likely will, due to the trauma being at Kennedy Road has inflicted upon him, have to seek mental counseling help outside of the school system. He was flourishing even throughout his learning difficulties before attending this school at his previous elementary school, which was Jordan Hill. Middle school age children have enough hormones, emotions, and issues as it is without trying to fit in, mixing a socially awkward teen with sensory processing and phonological disorders who is getting taunted daily by his schoolmates and who is witnessing his teacher involve herself in it, then you have an entirely different, more complicated situation. My suggestion is that the staff have educational seminars, more resources for the parents, and maybe even add educational programs for other students as well so they can better understand autism spectrum disorders. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Next item on the agenda is if you need to leave, this would be a good time for you to leave. We'll give a little 2-minute break for those of you who need to leave. You're welcome to leave or you're welcome to stay. Totally up to you. So we'll adjourn for 2 minutes. Thank you. See ya. All right, if we could come back to order. All right, board members, you see the consent agenda items, human resources, and then the business action items.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda items.
Motion?
Second.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand, please. All right, 5-0, thank you. And, right, and now I need a motion to go into executive session
For the purpose of
for the purpose of personnel.
employment of personnel.
Excuse me?
Employment of personnel.
What? Nobody left my script up here. Just kidding. To go into executive session for the employment of personnel. All in favor? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Motion?
And I'll second.
Okay. Maybe I'll come back out of that room in better order myself. All right. Do we have let's vote.
Vote, yeah.
Thank you. All right. We'll go into executive session. Thanks. Well, I usually have a little thing up here with the little box. we'll come back to order. Thank you. Our action items tonight include, first would be Beaverbrook Elementary School project resolution. Do we do this first? We do this, go in order? Is that okay? Okay. Beaverbrook Elementary School project resolution, Mr. Ballard.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Simmons.
Good evening.
We've come to you tonight trying to finish up the Beaverbrook project documentation with the State Department of Education Facilities Department. We had gone through and I've been reviewing some of the items with them, and we came up with 6 items that we chose not to fully to do within the program that we were under for various reasons. And with that, we had to bring it back and get a proclamation because we are getting state funds for this project. So this just allows us to clean up the documentation. This doesn't mean that we lose any money, but it means that we are just take these off where we don't get paid for something we did not accomplish and do. But then that allows us to then go back and ask for funds at another time to do this work when we do decide to move forward with it. So again, this is just a cleanup effort. We actually received a letter this week saying that we had received was being processed the original 90% of what we were going to be provided from the State Department. And then this will allow, once we get this back to them, they'll make the adjustments and then send us the remaining amount for Beaverbrook Elementary School. Any questions?
Questions?
None here.
All right, motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. Mr. Harris, surplus buses and vehicles.
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Simmons, tonight the GSCS Transportation Department is seeking approval from the Griffin Spalding County Board of Education to surplus 25 out-of-service school buses and 2 out-of-service sedans. Using a combination of bond funds and allocated SPLOST funds, the Transportation Department continues to annually replace aging vehicles in our fleet. Surplusing this aging equipment reduces our overall operational costs as the need to both inspect, maintain, repair, and ultimately, in the case of store these vehicles, eliminates that additional cost. 25 buses and the 2 sedans will be auctioned online to the highest bidder. We do this through a website called govdeals.com. Once the auction officially closes, if we have any unsold vehicles, we may choose to repost those vehicles, try to auction them again, or we have a short list of local agencies and people who may inquire about buying them, and we'll make them available to them. Some will just be sold mainly for scrap, the scrap metal price. The average age of the buses identified for surplus is 22 years. Year models run from 99 to 2006. One sedan is about 24 years old, the other one's about 16. Once we surplus these vehicles, our average daily fleet will then be around 15 years old, which is a good number. I think on our next surplus round in maybe a year or so, we'll be down to 12, which I think is the optimum number. But with the with the board's approval and being able to purchase these new vehicles, that we've maintained that fleet, that's where we've gotten to this to the number. So again, it's recommended that the Griffin Spalding Board of Education approve the surplus of 25 out-of-service school buses and 2 out-of-service sedans. And I'll take any questions or answer questions.
You want to have any questions?
Yeah, I just for my knowledge, what when I looked at the list, I saw crusher only.
Crusher only. Yeah.
So what was it?
Mr. Holmes, those some of the buses, those 2 that are mentioned as crusher only, we've used those to kind of rob parts off of for light models. So basically the engines are gone, the electronics have been taken, and we've used them to lower costs on purchasing others. So those are just, they're not running, they're not operable at all, and couldn't be repaired. Okay. So if somebody buys them, they would just be buying them for scrap metal price.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, motion?
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wheeler? Rehoboth Road Middle School kitchen equipment purchase.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Education members, Dr. Simmons. The Griffin Spalding County Schools Nutrition Department is seeking the approval of the purchase of a Cleveland steamer and Cleveland range model from Douglas equipment at the total cost of $31,135.14. The funds for this equipment will come from the nutrition account. The background is the current steamer and kettle combination in the Rehoboth Middle School. That equipment is unrepairable and won't pass inspection. The steamers and kettles are used to cook vegetables using steam as opposed to boiling, and that way we can maintain the nutritional quality of it and the appearance on the products. We have them in all of our schools. So we've did the work and compared 3 bids for the equipment. Douglas equipment came in at the lowest cost of $31,000. The recommendation is recommended that the Griffin Spalding County Board of Education approves the purchase of the Cleveland steamer and range model for Rehoboth Middle School cafeteria. Are there any questions?
All right, no questions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, we have a 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Kelly, accessibility improvements at Crescent Elementary School.
Good evening, Board Chair, Superintendent Simmons.
Good evening.
Tonight I'm presenting for approval accessibility improvements at Crescent Elementary School. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve funding for the necessary accessibility improvements to Crescent Elementary School, specifically addressing playground, sidewalk switchbacks, and access to the school's gymnasium at a total estimated cost of $185,000 using existing eSPLOS 5 funds. Take any questions that you may have at this time.
Sir, self-explanatory.
Very good. What's needed?
Yes, thank you. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cook. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
All right, thank you.
And next will be Superintendent Recommendations, Dr. Keith Simmons.
Madam Chair, before you do that, I would just like to make some comments as it relates to the 5 leaders that our superintendent is going to bring before us. And it brings a lot of concern to me, being a member of this body, and at this point of approving the recommendation of who will be the instructional leaders at Beaverbrook, Cowan Road Middle School, Kennedy Road Middle School, and Moore Elementary School. It is critical in the time of education where we need to make sure that we are attracting exceptional talent, not only in our teachers, paraprofessionals, but in administrators as well. It is my hope that the new administrators joining us, if they have not had the opportunity to do so, that they will review the demographics of our district, and if they are going to schools that are hard to staff, that they understand it is incumbent for them to understand to do the research to become the leader that we need here in Griffin Spalding. During the interview process for superintendent with Dr. Simmons, there were 3 things that he brought to us that I thought was outstanding. He said that in this district, that as superintendent, that he would make sure that we had great schools. He said that he would do everything that in his power to support great leaders. And then he also said that we would have a distinctive brand. And the ideas of distinctive brand, which is great schools and great instructional leaders who move teachers from good to great. I believe principals should take more time with teachers to collaborate to ensure that lessons are going as they should plan, and to be that educational sound voice to get the support they need. Far too long, we have focused on giving students what they need, and that is exactly what we are supposed to do. But then let's not forget how we can support teachers. Let's not forget how we can give them more resources to make them successful practitioners of the cause. We also need to make sure that we are able to retain excellent talent in our classrooms. And when I say this, I'm not talking about professional developments here and there. I'm talking about actionable and things that can truly improve instructional practices and improve assessment outcomes. So I'm looking forward to working with the new principals at these schools, and would like to congratulate you and welcome to Griffin Spalding County School System.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Dr. Simmons?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, if it pleases the board, I will go through these line by line. So for the recommendation for principal of Beaverbrook Elementary School for the school year 2022-23, the recommendation is for Mr. Jonathan McGavin.
And we do that line by line?
Line by line.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second. I'll let you.
Let's give Jonathan a hard time. Come on, let's give him a hard time.
Is he still here?
They say age before be Rudy.
Where is he? Is he still here?
He's in the back.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Before we move, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I would like to just say to Jonathan personally, since I've been knowing him and his mother, which my mother in love worked with at A.Z. Kelsey, it's just good to see him progress as he has in this district that he was a product of. And so I just wanted to convey that, and I look forward to seeing you in your new position, and I know your mother's proud.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Madam Chair, for principal of Cowan Middle School, school year 22-23, the recommendation is Miss Janet McDowell.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, 5-0.
Madam Chair, for recommendation of Kennedy Road Middle School, school year 2022-23, the recommendation is Dr. Basil Marin.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. 5-0, thank you.
Principal of Moore Elementary School, school year 22-23, Dr. Audra Olukoya.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you.
Director of Student Services for the school year 22-23, Dr. Lisa Moore.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes my recommendations of administrative personnel.
Thank you, Dr.
Before
Simmons.
we move on from that, I think it's important that we thank Dr. Mallard. Right there, I thought I saw her.
You did.
Are you still here?
Retiring, right?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. But I also know that you were brought in, I think, at the very beginning of my tenure, and the school was in much need of what you were able to bring that school at that time. And so we're very grateful and thankful for what you've done. And enjoy your retirement.
Dr. Mallard, BB4L.
I also would like to thank Dr. Mallard. I have her school is in my district, District 5, and it's a pretty special place to go out there. It truly is. I always enjoy going out there, and I also wanted to publicly thank you for the work you've done since your tenure there. We will miss you. We wish you nothing but the best. And I know your daughter graduates, I think, next month. Is that correct? And you're all excited about that? That's great. We wish you well and come back to see us. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
She won't be retiring.
Thank you. All right, board members, you have your information items. The GSCS secures bundle of 500 at-home COVID-19 tests. That was pretty self-explanatory. And at this point in time, we are to go back into executive session, so I need a motion, please, for the purpose of employment of personnel. Evaluation of personnel.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And we have a motion and a second. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Take the vote.
Take a vote. Sorry. I'm just not with it tonight.
We're not adjourned yet. We're not adjourned. We're not
Okay,
adjourned.
we are not adjourned. No,
We're not adjourned.
We're going to executive session for the second time. Thank you.